And it gives me great pleasure, oh, there you are, to welcome Dr. Woralun, as well as Angela. Let me introduce, gives me great pleasure to introduce two wonderful ladies. Associate Professor Dr. Woralun Boonyasurat began her higher education journey in 1988, earning a BA in Thai art in the Faculty of Fine Art in Chiang Mai University, Thailand, a master's in History of Architecture, and a PhD in Architectural Heritage, Management and Tourism at Silpakorn University in Bangkok. Amazing. She won a Merit Award, as I told you earlier this morning, for the 2008 UNESCO Asia-Pacific Heritage Awards for Cultural Heritage Conservation for the Viharn Phra Punong Conservation Project in 2008, and won the Excellence Award in Art and Culture Conservation under the Royal Patronage twice, once in 2009 and in 2013. And Miss Angela, you were also involved in the project as well. So congratulations to you as well with regards how much you must have contributed to the whole project. Yeah. And Miss Angela is a former systems manager of public affairs with the American Embassy in Thailand. She's also the deputy director of Little People in Conservation Group. Also a keen photographer who loves to conserve. And a fun fact, which is interesting for us, she is of Malaysian Thai parentage. So it gives us great pleasure to listen to your amazing presentation firsthand of a case that I took with me all over Australia. Please, without further ado.
My project is in the Lampang, that you know? Yes, it's far from Chiang Mai. Wow! Yes, it's far from Chiang Mai, around 100 kilometers. Yes, and this is our project to conserve the little building that you see that we call Viharn Phra Punong. Is sorry to long pronounce, but it means the assembly hall for the 1,000 Buddha images here, but it's very small. But the meaning is something is different. The project is start from 2004, and we used for a long time to preserve the building, but not only the building, but create awareness among the stakeholders and students, local people, and many. The people involved in this project is so many. In the first time when we went to this site, Angela and I, the locals asked us to come here because in that time they have the problem about the building. You know, the local people in northern Thailand need to rebuild everything new. This is in the case like that. But from my opinion and from my research, this is the only building that we found in northern Thailand that is like a assembly hall in the crucible form. That is very rare in northern Thailand now. But if something happened like a local thing like that, something is old. And for my project, this is the timeline of my project. I'm start from.
Sorry, for some reason the fonts did not come.
No problem. This is a tangible heritage that we use, and every method and every single activity we add the intangible cultural heritage to conserve and to maintain and everything inside. And this is our activities from 2004 until now. And this is my my map to how to do in the this project, conservation project. We use activities because of in that area, the local lack of knowledge, lack of how to, they sometimes they aware of everything. They're not aware of everything. Okay, and we use many activities like this, and activities. And for conservation activities, this is my process. We use the process like this. We use many things such as create awareness process, fundraising because of we lack of fund, and historical and architectural research process, and building environmental conservation process by setting up team. Our team is the young people like a student, academic, photographer, monks, and locals. And we use community participation to conserve that building. This is the process. We use the educate our stakeholders. Our stakeholders is from everywhere, but in the first time is the local communities. They need to learn how it is important, the history value, aesthetic value, and everything. And this is the monk. This is the first meeting that we have. And after that, we have the meeting to many organizations, the government organization, and sometimes the project is turned to be like a learning hub for locals, for government, for blah 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 to come here and learn about everything. We teach everything: history, architecture, conservation, and photographer. Like Angela, she is here, and this is Angela teach the local to learn English.
A little bit.
English for for tourists. Mm-hmm.
Receiving
Receiving.
guests like UNESCO GCI, a retreat group from 20 countries back in 2009.
We found a problem too, because in the first time, the local, they're scared of the outsider. But after we talk and talk to them, after that, they think, oh, you are my daughter, and they talk to us and everything. They need something, they try to do something, and after that they change their mind from rebuild to be conserved. And I use the research process too, because this is the old building around 120 years old, and we use participation from the local. The local pick the picture from their home, and we discuss together what happened in this temple, like this. And we travel to many places by ourselves, and we research about architectural style. And this is we found that temple, that building is like a blend, the Lana, Northern Thailand style, Burmese style, and sometimes it's like a China together. Yes, and we travel to Burma, to Nepal to see what happened and the process of construction. And finally, the Fine Art Department of Thailand came to this the temple and drawing about what happened in this building. But it is from my research. This is the problem, everything. In leaking roof and in like a decay area from moisture and from insect. And we traveled to Chiang Mai, to Chiang Rai, and found the influential from Viharn Phra Pran Ong. And this is one of our research. This research is from students because in my project, we took the students involved in our project. And the student came from 3 universities, Chiang Mai University, Silpakorn University, and Ratchapat University. We came by our heart because of we not have support from, but everyone know this is the old building that we have. But how to do? One day, I and Angela went to Bangkok and asked and tell the evidence of conservation in northern Thailand, and we have something like a case study. And the student from university, they decide, wow, we have to do something, and they went to that area. And this is the fundraising because that we have lack of fund. We use the traditional northern Thailand like make merit thot gratin. This the support from the locals and every people who need to support, and this is like a make merit. This is the something that everyone in Thailand think about this. And this is a traveling exhibition. The exhibition, photographer, Angela took this picture and she prepared everything because this is for the local to understand themselves. And this is the first traveling exhibition, and we traveling to many places in Thailand. And not only for the building, but for the artifact that we found in the temples. Because the local don't know what is this, what is that, what, and we teach them. And after that, we clean and display everything and show the meaning and how it is important, something like that. And this is like a create awareness process. And you can see, sorry for monk, help Angela to took the photo. And this is, we have the exhibition and have the books, magazine from Sawadi that for more information, Angela will tell you later. And this is a presentation not only in Lampang, but to Chiang Mai, to Bangkok, to many places. And we create sense of place of these temples because this is the old temple and have the old ceremony. But in that time, everything is disappear. And how to do it? Working with the local and create them again. And you can see many people came to back to the temple. Student, soldier came here, and soldier have this is like a northern Thailand not dance for fighting, something like that, and is review. Have life again, and this is the technique that we took Angela. We found many artifacts here, by now, not only in this temple, but all around in that province, we found artifacts more than 20,000 pieces that we found. In the first time, they don't know, they don't care, but by now, this is like a hub for conservation in northern Thailand. And this is the first thing that we found. This is the Buddha images on the roof of the building. It's high for a long time ago, until one day the abbot, after he trusts us, he gave the key to me, and you go to the building and open what happened in this building. And after that, this is the first time of we create like a conservation artifact process, and this is the first time. And after that, we like have something like this many times in this area. And the student, after they like inspired from this project, they came to ask me and need to do something for help this project. They researched about this is artifact like this mythical animal in this building. Some students need to research about Jataka banners, Jataka painting banners that we found, around 50 pieces. And sometimes it's like a lotus throne that in the temple. And after that, we have like books print about this artifact and this research. This is a student from the university came and workshop together 7 days. And after the workshop, we have like a model for the locals to like make decision how to do with this building. We know, but we need the local to make their decision by themselves again. And this is like a model for them. And we know the important is the local people do everything by themselves. This is the artisan in Lampang. We have artisans from many places who came to this project and asked for the work. But we know the local people is important for this project. Lampang people will do for Lampang building. And we send the artisan from our project to help another project. This is the project in Srisomwongwathana in China. They know about the conservation project in Lampang. We have the history that relate together. They came to Lampang and asked for help because the artisan in China by now is like disappeared. And we send the artisan to like teach them how to do, how to preserve, how to like the same as in Lampang. Not only in China, but in northern Thailand, in another province too. This is in Lamphun and in Chiang Mai. And the process of to conserve the building, we use like a traditional ancient technique to these temples until we got the award. And after the award, not everything that stopped, but it started. We start with this, we have the fund from the UNESCO to create the project about museum to museum capacity building and invite the monk from Lampang, Lamphun, and Chiang Mai learn about how to serve their culture, how to serve their artifact. And after that, the monk from this course came to their temples and repeat how to conserve the artifact in that area in around in Lampang. It's like a note for the knowledge of conservation from temples to temples, from community to community. After that, monk teach monk, local teach local, student teach student. By now, it's like for me, it's like a flower. The little people, we call ourselves little people in conservation. That means we have like the lay people who love to conserve our heritage. And we like create the conservator seed for a little people, people to grow and conserve the heritage. And they like in the future it's turned to be the big tree for our heritage. And this is that I said to you, this is the monk that to their temple and found many things, many artifacts that we found and conserve it. Is you can see this is a student and the elders came together and learned together. Not only academic, but the local can teach every locals. The elder teach the younger. That's why I think this is the younger when they learn. I'm sure they know this is important to them to conserve their heritage again and again. And I think this is the never-ending process. But the process is, this is from my research. But we have another part about documentation and photographer. Angela, please.
Thank you. As a photographer, I'm not a good speaker. Excuse me for that. And yeah, okay. Is it better? Yeah, thank you. I would like to, some of my slides might be the same as what Dr. Woralun talked about. And I like to, give you an idea of how I use a photography as a tool in conservation. Back in the time when I worked for American Embassy and I visited the US first time, maybe 20 years ago, and I've been to a wooden bridge and about 100 years old, and they put a sign say historical bridge. And I thought, oh, just 100 years old, it's already a historical bridge. But it is in very, very good condition. And I have to say that wooden bridge in that condition is very good, very well conserved. And I came back to Thailand and I say, well, Chiang Mai is over 700 years old. We are much older than the States. But what we have left, sometimes it's a pity that we used to have more than what they have, but they conserved very well. So I came to think about this, and I learned to appreciate my culture, and I think it is important that every one of us treasure our own culture before. I mean, for us, Thai, and I like to implement this to my Thai younger generation, before take up any other influence, know your roots. So that's why I get involved in these conservation work. And, I use the photography in documentation, the condition and a conservation technique, creative pride, and even documentary the process. Let me go through very briefly. So I use it in documentation. At the beginning, I think it is very, very important to record this, to document the building before it was restored. And I, wasn't thinking about any award or anything at all. I just know that it's going to be my last opportunity to document it for the younger generation. So back then I used my Leica, black and white and slide. And I tried, it took me many months before I can capture the first photograph. The reason is that when we went to this temple in late 2004, it was actually a scaffold with a bamboo and then ready to remove the roof. So it's covered with those bamboo. And then I say, well, I cannot. I can, but I don't want to record this as a historical photograph for our younger generation to see these bamboo scaffolds covered this Viharn. And then my, niece or nephew or my, it will ask, Grandma. One day I will be Grandma. And then, how is this Viharn supposed to look like? So I asked the community to remove the scaffolds. Believe it or not, it took 4 months to remove those and clean it up a little bit because I say, well, I don't want the bad documentation, and I think my picture lasts much longer than my age. So I insist, and it took me a year to photograph a little book like this, and months working with the art director in Bangkok, trying to present the old temple in a contemporary way, to talk to the younger people. So I have to talk in their language. Anyway, so that was my starting point. And then, when we proposed, and before we earned the award, the UNESCO asked us to photograph the after conservation shots. So I was not planned for that. Actually, I just think about, just documenting what, the condition is. But then it became a guide for any other conservation projects to do the before and after shots. This Viharn has a very interesting elements like the lotus petal, main pillar, I'm sorry, run off of vocabularies, like floating maybe in the ocean, in some belief, or, well, she can tell you better than I am, but these are their, before and after shots that I took. Yeah. So the challenge is, when I first stepped on this Viharn, let me tell you something. I'm Catholic, and I'm from Bangkok. So, women are not allowed to walk in certain buildings or areas in the temple. For example, I shouldn't go to the ordination hall because it's strictly limited for men only, or so some certain area I'm not supposed to walk in. So many times that I visited this temple, I thought I'm not supposed to step on this Viharn, so I never see clearly what it is really look like. The very first time when I photographed this left picture, and I took my time appreciating this temple. It is like, talking to an old lady. I mean, she used to be so beautiful, but now she is old, just old. but her beauty is there. So yeah. Anyway, so I photograph according. Well, I'm a photographer, and photographer is light writer. So that is definition by Kodak. Photo means light. So I use the light to tell my story. And but back when UNESCO asked me to reshoot it, the after shots. Now there was no light that day, so it's quite a challenge to go back to the angle when you use a different camera. But anyway, and I did it. So I try to photograph the same as much as possible, and it will be there for another maybe 1,000 years. Yeah, so to compare. So, and I also do the documentation on conservation technique. For example, when they excavate the ground of the mount. Actually, this small Viharn is built on the man-made mount. And we know that because the archaeologists who are part of our group, interdisciplinary group, they found that the 7-meter depth of the mount are made of brick. So they know that it is man-made. Anyway, so, and the eave bracket, there are different kinds. There is stucco work. The June, which is the lead-based, the little like metal sheet, almost like semi-glass that they put in, which is now discontinued production because we believe that it is poisonous for the one who produce. A lot of story because it's rarely found. It's very expensive, and once it comes from to the antique shop, and they call John Woralun and say, well, we have like 3 kilo, it costs a fortune, and if you would like to have it, come now or never. So she called up the temple and said, well, it's there, you want it or not, and it's now or who knows, maybe never, like I said, yeah.
Send to Japan.
So anyway, this is the, I'm sorry, stucco applying, yeah. In comparison, the stucco. So, and the June, this is the June glass, which a lot of temple in the north use this material. And applying June glass on that star ceiling. So another documentation is on the artifacts. This is the extension part of what she just said. They're taking down their almost 300 Buddha images from under that small roof. You see the main Buddha image even in the cage because, and locked because the Buddha head was cut off, was stolen. And then so they put the cage around the main 4 Buddha images, but now they've removed those cages out. So it's just like, do you remember going to that caged Buddha images? I mean, people refer to this temple as the caged Buddha. Anyway, so this is the very first documentations. In this documentation of their 300 Buddha images, what we do is we sat down with the communities and say, we need community help, we need the monks' help. We went with to university people, students, and we have soldiers, and we have the policemen, and we like them to be with us in all process, meaning that so they know what we are doing. They know that after this cleaning documentation, it will be stored in their monks' living quarter, which we help clean up, prepare for the space first. So we did it together, and the fine arts director, Fine Arts of Thailand director came and evidenced that day too. So it's the help from all, and we like to implement this in all our activities, because and prepare their sort of catalog. But actually this is a catalog what we did, and gave it to the temple. And then, there are many documentations. And then later on, we clean up, documenting, register. I photograph these manuscript chests, which later on, with the help of the monk and the people there, it took me 4 days, believe it or not, to photograph those artifacts. Just for this time only. 54 Chataka painting banners. So with the help, I think I have 7 or 8 people in the team back then, from the university, from the temple. And the women, the ladies from that community always prepare food for us. Yeah, they always prepare, very delicious food. And so all help. And these Chataka painting banners, what is interesting about it is very old. How old is it?
120 years. And after that, we found Chataka painting like this in another temples in northern Thailand. In the first time, we think this Chataka painting like this is only in the central Thailand. But by now, this is the new knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. I think I ran out of time, so I'll make it very quick. And what is more interesting about this is after I photographed it, the replica, the reprint of it was loaned to other temples in Lampang, and actually revived the ceremony that used the Chataka painting banners. And this is how I photographed the museum. Actually, the artifact first, but then later on they set up the museum by their local people. And these are not dead museum. When there are ceremonies, they take out these chests and then reuse it. So they revive the ceremony, they reuse the artifact, and they do their information, the caption, the catalog. And also I use the photography as a part of creating the pride. These are the exhibition that I brought to the Art and Design Fair in the very central heart of Chiang Mai. It is the first time that their temple conservation was there. So I approached another group of people who know nothing about conservation maybe, and then they start to learn about, well, there is such a thing in this world, and we'd like to help if we can. So and then these are the example of the photograph in the exhibition. This is trance dance, which is the women play a major role in this matriarchal society. So when it comes to the spirit belief, women leads the role. And it took me many times, many trips, to capture the sort of spirit of this. And the artifact that the locals start learning about their own artifacts from viewing my exhibition. Yeah. Okay, I think that covers good enough. Thank you very much for your patience and interest.